lovely to see you all and connect with you. I just wanted to jump on and do a very impromptu conversation in relation to SafeGround and to answer some of your questions in relation to it because I'm super excited. So I guess maybe a key question that some of you might have is, what is SafeGround? SafeGround has been built through over 10 years of me being in the chronic health industry and space, working with chronic fatigue, chronic illness, chronic pain patterns, chronic and debilitating symptoms that kind of come out of nowhere, and nervous system regulation. Also on that journey for myself, or my own chronic health recovery journey, from chronic Lyme disease and co-infections, shingles. I had a car accident that really disrupted my nervous system, gut issues, brain fog. The list goes on and on and on, like an extensive list of symptoms. I remember on a particular day, I probably had about 40 symptoms or 45. I still have that piece of paper somewhere of all those symptoms that I had had. And I so wish I had SafeGround and these tools and techniques and this understanding of the nervous system way back when, but I do now. So if and when things happen, we can respond to life in a very different way. And so SafeGround really is for you if you are going through chronic health challenges, you've tried a lot of things, maybe you're also doing or have tried many nervous system regulation tools, techniques, programs, somatics, brain retraining. And there's some really great resources and information in those programs and in those offerings. But what I often find is there are some key pieces of the puzzle that are missing on people's journeys, because we want to be well. We want to feel like we're broken and we want to be fixed. But that kind of energy can really influence our nervous system. So I often find people doing loads of different practices, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the list can go on, but they're not getting their results. Or a lot of people are coming and trauma is a piece and a pattern that is unresolved and needs some support and resourcing. Well, people are really overwhelmed. There's so many options. Every Instagram page is a new way of doing a nervous system regulation approach. So like, well, do I do this? Or do I do that? Do I do this one? Do I do that one? And that in itself is really overwhelming for the nervous system. So SafeGround is about coming together in a safe place and in a space that really is about titrated nervous system regulation for you and for your nervous system, and creating a recovery pathway rather than a protocol. You don't need a protocol or a step-by-step guide of what you need to do and when you need to do it. You need something that is a pathway that is flexible for you and your unique nervous system, because everybody is so different and everyone's nervous systems are so different. So chronic fatigue, chronic illness, sensitivities, trauma, nervous system dysregulation, chronic pain, persistent symptoms. If you've tried a lot of things, this is the space for you. So another question that people ask is, why do we start with safety? Because when we look at the nervous system and we look at neuroscience, we look at psychoneuroimmunology, we look at polyvagal theory, which is in relation to the safety of the nervous system. I'm saying something needs to be closed here and I don't quite know what it is, so I'll just say dismiss and hopefully we can keep going and hopefully we are still live. Safety is really at the foundation of the core. You can implement nervous system regulation practices and protocols and vagal toning, but if that doesn't feel safe for your nervous system, it can be overstimulating for your nervous system. It can feel like a threat response. So what we do is we start with the basics and the foundation of the nervous system and the element of safety, and creating signals of safety for your brain, for your body, with the symptoms, with the thoughts that you have, with the sensations that you're experiencing, and with the emotions that you have as well. So safety is the foundations of recovery. So if you have any questions, feel free to jump in and pop in. And so we start with foundation so that your system is not running on the foundations of a threat response and thinking that the sensations, the experience, the emotions, the sensations, the chronic fatigue is actually not a threat. So what actually happens in SiteGround? So we meet your nervous system where you're at with that sense of safety as the foundation. We also have a beautiful community on board in safe ground. So you can ask questions, you can feel co-regulated with others. This is not about fixing anything. It is about support in a way that supports your nervous system. What are some of those practices or concepts or insights that help to support your brain and body to bring about a sense of safety where the system is not signaling everything as a threat? So we have a beautiful community on board. We have live sessions, there is learning, there is support. So there will be 4 live sessions a month. They go for approximately an hour each. So the first few months, there's going to be more than 4 sessions a month as we connect and build some of those beautiful resources for you inside of SafeGround. Now, SafeGround is not a program. It is not a protocol. It is a pathway of recovery for you, which is very different because I'm sure that you have tried many protocols in the past, and that's not what your system needs. Systems do not feel safe necessarily with protocols. They feel safe with pathways and they feel safe with choice, because when we go through chronic illness, when we go through trauma, we don't realize that when you go through trauma and chronic illness, you don't have a choice. You don't choose to have chronic illness. You don't choose to have a traumatic experience. But the brain likes choice. So when you go through trauma, it doesn't realize that there is choice. With chronic illness recovery, you don't necessarily realize that there is choice. So we offer your brain and body choice because that feels safe for your system. So there is a choice of live coaching sessions. So we have 4 sessions per week. 2 in the morning, generally Tuesday 9:30 a.m. Sydney time, and we also have one at 7 p.m. Sydney time on a Tuesday. So there will be something every single week for you, whether that will be a live coaching session where we jump on Zoom, and if you would like to share your screen, if you'd like to ask questions, then you are most welcome to in supporting creating your own safe ground, or within you may have some questions in relation to how you can do that. But we also have a pathway in safe ground of how you can start to build that and to create that. So we have live coaching circles every month. That is absolutely something we have every month. Come and join those. We also have what I'm calling restorative grounding sessions, which are rewiring sessions. It's neuroplasticity. Our brain has the ability to change and to rewire. Our body is bioplastic and has the capacity to rewire as well and change. So there are these beautiful restorative grounding sessions, which incorporates these neuroplasticity concepts, so you can rewire your brain and your body for recovery. This is not just a place to come where I'm going to talk at you. You are going to have an experience of supporting your nervous system and regulating your nervous system. And when we create regulation within our system and we move from a place of dysregulation or anxiety or overwhelm, and we come back into a place of regulation where we can kind of flexibly move through the world and through stresses, because we're not immune to stresses and stressful situations, but it's how we respond to them that is the important element. And that's what the restorative grounding sessions will be. It will be about teaching your system how to respond to these moments of dysregulation. And you get to experience that coming back down from a place of dysregulation. And we're going to do that together through experiences. There will also be discussions and conversations and workshops on key recovery pathways. So again, we don't talk about protocols, but recovery pathways. So we will talk through different concepts related to recovering from chronic health challenges, sleep, chronic symptoms, anxiety, chronic fatigue, those with MCAS and histamine responses. Lots of little conversations and little workshops specifically about creating recovery pathways for you. There will be a growing restorative pathways library that you can access of resources that we will build and grow together. So we have coaching, we have restorative grounding sessions, we have key recovery pathway conversations and workshops, and we have a beautiful community and a place where you can ask questions. So another question that I get asked is, what makes this different from brain retraining programs? So part of the difference is also it is led by me. I have been in the chronic illness and recovery space and a practitioner and in the health and wellness space for over 10 years. I've helped and supported over 3,200 people in my journey over the 10-year period. I've also been on my own recovery from chronic health challenges, and I am a practitioner in this space. I have done many, many certifications. You're welcome to head to my website and check out some information in relation to some of the certifications and workshops that I have done. But I have constantly an avid learner in this space because I'm looking for those unique tools and techniques and approaches that can help support you the best, because I've been working with those with chronic illness and really complex situations where certain things or protocols or approaches haven't landed for them. So I'm looking for what is the missing piece, the unique missing piece for you and the piece to your puzzle, because everyone is so different. So this space is practitioner-led by me. It is paced to you and your nervous system. It is trauma-aware and trauma-informed. I work very much in the trauma space where some approaches are not trauma-informed. We work with the brain, we work with the nervous system, and we work with the body. And we are not about forcing or pushing you to do anything beyond your nervous system's capacity, because we can only work with the pace of the nervous system. And when we work with the pace of the nervous system, that creates safety and that creates capacity. And that creates expansion and your ability to expand in what you do and in your health, and be able to step into joy and back into life. As I said, I also have my lived experience, and what makes this different is that it is also targeted, very much targeted, towards the very sensitive nervous system. There are also key recovery pathways that we explore, and this is a little bit of the core and the foundation of SafeGround are these recovery pathways. Now, everybody, in terms of the recovery pathways, some people may want to or need to focus on certain things, and other things may be missed on your journey. This is not just about nervous system regulation from somatic approaches. That is definitely one piece. We incorporate neuroplasticity in there, but there's some pathways that are included that we explore, which is safety, it's number one. Trauma, emotional regulation, and emotional processing, and being able to do this in a way that is safe. We look at the mitochondria, we look at nutrition, we look at lifestyle. There are some other factors in there that we also look at, and that will some of those pathways that you can explore that you probably haven't explored before or been aware of, in a way that's creating an approach that is bio-individual and unique to you. So we will work through and walk through these pillars together, and in a way that you can implement them at your pace. So what does a typical first week look like for a new member? It is meeting you with exactly where you're at. It is as much or as little as you like. I would suggest that the less is more and more beneficial in this regard. And so I have a beautiful very first step and very first week pathway for you to explore that is not overwhelming. It is starting with one thing. This is what SafeGround is about. It is starting with one thing and building your capacity from there. It is what you need in this moment and then in the next moment as that support. Again, there is a little guide for you there, and also potentially attending one of the first live coaching sessions and picking a pillar to be curious about. So another question that people often ask is, what if I'm too tired, or what if I'm too brain fogged, or what if I can't do the work? So along the way is the permission to be human in the experience that you are having, and meet yourself with where you're at. As we say, slow is fast when we work with the nervous system. We do home play and not homework, and it is about doing your best and leaving the rest. You can attend a live session, you can watch a replay, you can read that first little section, or you can literally just sign up as your first step. It is really about creating your first step. So you can, and again, it's about doing your best, not about creating overwhelm. So meeting yourself with where you're at. Another question, a very, very common question is, what if I've tried so many things and I don't have much hope yet, or left, I should say. You've tried so many things is this going to work? I don't know if there's a part of me that has some hope. There's a part of me that thinks that maybe this could work. A part of me that thinks that maybe this may be different in some way, shape, or form. I'd like to reassure you that it is. And I would like to offer you hope and the belief that this is possible for you because it's neuroplasticity. The brain and the body has the ability to change and rewire. You don't need to believe this for this to work. You can have all the doubts and you can bring those along with you. I say, please do bring those along with you because we work with those doubts. We work with those beliefs that you have that it's not possible for you or that you've tried so many things. And I know myself on my own journey, that kind of questioning, like, will this work? Is this different? And working with so many clients and holding space for them, there is a difference in how we support the nervous system and how we create safety. A lot of people say, how do we do it? Well, the how is actually in safe ground. This is where we talk through those tools, those techniques, those strategies for creating safety. So I'm here to hold the flag or the wave, or just thinking I have all sorts of things in my space here, but the torch for you in relation to safety, in relation to, I should say, recovery. I have hope. I know there are so many different ways that we can explore this, but it's not about giving you all of those things. It is about starting you with one thing and building evidence for your brain and your body that recovery is actually possible. I didn't think it was on my journey. And I so needed this all these years ago when this wasn't available back then. So I bring my own experience and I bring all of the incredible clients that I've had the capacity and the privilege to work with over the years, and all the nervous system resets that I've been running for the last 5.5 years that we're now transitioning here into safe ground, as well as EFT tapping into health, where we've tapped our way into health in different ways to, overcome some of those beliefs, to increase that sense of hope, where you don't feel that and you're not carrying that torch for yourself. So come along with as much hope as you have, with as much doubt as you have. It is all welcome. But if you don't have a lot of help. If you don't have a lot of help in the meantime, you are welcome to borrow mine because I will hold it for you and I will walk the path with you in this journey together. So another question that people often ask is, or have been asking, is how do I know if safe ground is the right next step for me or if I need something deeper? Really good question. And safe ground is, a lot of it is self-guided. So a lot of tongue-tied here. So a lot of safe ground it's predominantly self-guided. So there's some resources that you have access to. There is the group coaching and a framework and a pathway that we talk about for recovery. But it is self-guided in some of your practices. I also offer EFT tapping into health. So that is a course that's available to purchase on its own, which is predominantly EFT tapping. What is EFT tapping into health? So it's definitely over 15 hours worth of videos and recordings. That includes kind of group coaching in there. There's 12 group coaching sessions that were anywhere between an hour and 2 hours long that you can participate in. There's tools, there's techniques, there's other guests and interviews that you can watch. There's a whole resource library in EFT tapping into health. So if working specifically with EFT tapping, emotional freedom techniques, is something that you would like and are interested in, that is a pathway for you potentially. And so we do tapping in safe ground as well. So if you are new to emotional freedom techniques and using that as a tool for self-resourcing and recovery, you can start in safe ground. There's also a lot more resource in EFT tapping into health. Then also, is this the next step for me, or do I need to go deeper? So safe ground is a safe place. It is trauma-led and there is trauma support in here, but this is not a place for processing one-on-one traumas. That requires a deeply held space of safety in a one-on-one setting with a practitioner. This is something that I can help and support you with because it's something that I also do. So it may be that you find safe ground is the perfect fit for you in everything that you need based on where you're at, and maybe you have some external support, or maybe you're after safe ground along with some additional support, which I could potentially offer you. Because sometimes you need to go on a deeper journey together that some of what we do in Safe Ground doesn't hold space for, because sometimes the experiences are quite big. I've had that on my journey where I did some group work, and I also needed that one-on-one support. So I am here to support you and to guide you onto those different paths of your recovery that you may need, whether that is one-on-one, my reset method and journey approach, or whether that is Safe Ground. But for a lot of you, Safe Ground is the starting point, or the most of you, Safe Ground can be that starting point for you. And then if you need additional support, you are welcome to reach out for that. And some people love that, the group community that we have and that are building in a way that is safe. This is not a support group where people are venting about their problems, venting about their pain and suffering, talking about in detail the story of which you have been through. This is not the space for that. This is the space to rewire your brain and rewire your body in a way that is safe for your nervous system and meets your capacity. What Safe Ground is also about choice, that you get to choose your path of recovery. As I said, it's not a protocol. I will never say it is only this. You will never hear me saying, in terms of nervous system regulation, do this one technique, do this one practice, this one thing. Well, there may be one key thing for you, but that key thing for me may be a different thing for you and to your friend or to the person next to you. We are all so unique in what we need for our recovery journey. So a few key questions in here. Someone also said, reached out and asked, is this a program? And so no, this is not a program. This is a pathway. Is this a protocol? No, this is not a protocol. This is a pathway and a beautiful membership to be held in space for a period of time. And I invite you to come along for a minimum of 3 months on the journey, because we know that recovery for some people happens in an instant, but for most it is as a result of implementing micro practices and things in the moment that helps to build your system's capacity over time. And I'm here to guide you on that journey. So it is not a program, it is a pathway, and it is a membership and with group coaching. It's been such a gift to connect with you. Regulation is not about being calm all the time. It's being able to go through some of these challenges from a regulated place. So, there needs to be a little bit of sympathetic activation going through this journey. That's how we respond to that is the difference. So thank you for joining me here or watching the replay. Such a gift. And I am looking forward to welcome you into the doors into Safe Ground. Namaste.